This is The Day John Kennedy Died by Daniel Felsenthal. Alfred sat in French class and drew stars on his binder. Robert wondered if his erection was visible through his jeans. Marcia practiced her verbs. Rhiannon stared at Marcia. Vera worried if she would be accepted to the Stars Club. Mrs. Racklin ran into the room and cried. Alice stood on the balance beam at the gymnastics competition. Bertha watched from the bench and silently hated her mother. The judge stopped the competition and cried. Mrs. Weatherbottom cried. Principal Philstein cried. Jeff and Wayne cut school. On their way to the theater, when they heard the news, they saw the movie anyway. In bed sick, Marcus thought, what if I'm the only person in the world with a consciousness, and everyone else is just a figment of my imagination? 6,521 deaths were reported in the United States alone. Across town, Raymond Kennedy, no relation, lost his dentures, although he left them on his nightstand. He could have sworn. Wallace chewed a cigar for the first time since he got married. Billy turned 4. Mark turned 38. Chew stepped on a landmine and lost his leg below his knee. Mike saw Jesus in a solid tissue. The manager docked Bo's tips at the pump house because he came to his shift wearing a pin he got at the protest. Miguel Angel lied about dipping his finger in the frosting of the cake, and because his mother told him, acciones tienen consecuencias, he thought that he was responsible when he heard what happened en los Estados Unidos. 1,214 newborn children in the United States were given the name John. Max said, we'll remember where we were today for the rest of our lives. His wife, Delia, took a diet pill, stared in the mirror. Anna, who lived alone, told no one she found blood in her stool. Aaron saw an aura of red when he set the name Jack Ruby in the Kansas City Metro Times. In love with Walter, Ryan wrote, I got blown here, 11/22/63, on the steps of the Washington Monument in Baltimore. He thought that the traffic on the streets below had stopped for him. Mr. Talib, whose wife was a talented seamstress, let the people watching television in the window of his store come inside. I'm sorry to be the bearer of more bad news, said the shaken priest at Lester's funeral service, realizing a moment later the lapse of his tact. Rod and Barbara had sex for the first time in 18 years. A game between the St. Louis Hawks and the New York Knickerbockers was canceled. Venus was visible through city smog, tiny, reddish. Wilson pulled the page from his typewriter. My first novel, he cried. A comet streaked across the sky. Ada finished her shift at the carburetor factory and took the bus home. Nothing will ever be the same, said her neighbor in the foyer. She iced her feet and wished that he was right.